If you are in the military and you have debt, two federal laws are supposed to protect you: the Servicemembers Civil Relief Act, known as SCRA, and the Military Lending Act, known as MLA. But here is the problem. 99% of service members confuse them. They don't know which law applies to which debt, and as a result, they leave thousands of dollars on the table every single year. I am from Military Money Decoded. In today's video, we're going to clear up all that confusion with one simple framework, and by the end, you'll know exactly which law to invoke for every single debt you have. According to a December 2024 joint letter from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Department of Justice, financial institutions must forgive, not defer interest in excess of 6% for the entire period of military service once a service member submits proper written notice. That is how seriously the federal government takes these protections. So let's make sure you actually use them. The single most important distinction between these two laws comes down to one question: when did the debt start? SCRA protects debts and obligations that existed before you entered active duty. MLA regulates new credit that you take out while you are already on active duty. That is it. That is the whole game. A credit card you open 2 years before enlistment. That is SCRA territory. A payday loan you take out next week while you are deployed. That is MLA territory. A car loan you signed before shipping out SCRA. A personal loan you open during your current duty station. MLA. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this: SCRA is for before. MLA is for during. Now, let's break down SCRA. The Servicemembers Civil Relief Act is a federal law that protects active duty members of the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, and Space Force. It also covers reservists and National Guard members serving on active duty under Title 10 orders, and National Guard members mobilized under Title 32 federal orders for more than 30 consecutive days. Commissioned officers of the Public Health Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration are covered too. The core financial protection is the 6% interest rate cap on any debt you incurred before active duty: credit cards, auto loans, home mortgages, student loans, personal loans, installment loans, title loans, medical bills. The lender must reduce your interest rate to 6% for the entire duration of your active duty. And here is the part most people get wrong. The interest above 6% is forgiven, not deferred. Your lender cannot add that excess interest back onto your loan after you separate. They must refund it. For mortgages, the 6% cap extends for 1 additional year after your active duty ends. To claim SCRA, you must notify each lender in writing, attach a copy of your military orders or a commander's letter, and submit it no later than 180 days after your release from active duty. Now, let's talk about MLA. The Military Lending Act is a federal law enacted in 2006. It covers active duty service members, including those on active guard or active reserve duty, plus their spouses and certain dependents. Yes, you heard that right. MLA protection flows directly to your spouse and dependents as standalone borrowers. This is different from SCRA, where dependents get indirect protection through the service member's status. The core financial protection under MLA is a 36% cap on the military annual percentage rate, or MAPR. But here's what makes MLA unique. The MAPR calculation is much broader than a standard APR. It includes not just interest, but also finance charges, credit insurance premiums, fees for debt cancellation or suspension contracts, application fees, participation fees, and charges for add-on credit. Related products sold with the loan. The lender cannot shift costs into fees to sneak around the cap. A loan that looks like 29% APR might actually be 42% MAPR, once all the fees are included. And that would be an MLA violation. Now, what does MLA cover? According to the CFPB, the MLA applies to payday loans, deposit advance products, tax refund anticipation loans, vehicle title loans, overdraft lines of credit, installment loans, and since the 3rd of October 2017, credit cards. It also covers certain student loans. What does MLA not cover? This is critical. The MLA does not cover residential mortgages. That means any loan secured by a dwelling, including mortgage refinances, home equity loans, and reverse mortgages. The MLA does not cover a loan to buy a motor vehicle when the credit is secured by that vehicle, and it does not cover loans to buy personal property when the credit is secured by that property, like a home appliance. So, a vehicle purchase loan is SCRA, protected if you took it out before service, but not MLA, protected if you take it out during service. However, a vehicle title loan, where the vehicle is used as collateral, but you are not financing its purchase, is covered by MLA. These distinctions matter enormously. Beyond the rate cap, MLA gives you additional protections that SCRA does not. Under MLA, creditors cannot require you to submit to mandatory arbitration. They cannot require you to waive certain legal rights. They cannot force you to set up a voluntary military allotment to get the loan, and they cannot charge you a prepayment penalty. These are powerful protections against predatory lending practices. Here is another crucial difference: how the protection is activated. Under SCRA, you must typically invoke it. You must send written notice, attach your orders, and proactively claim the benefit. If you don't ask, you don't get it. Under MLA, the responsibility falls on the lender. When you apply for credit during active duty, the creditor is required to check the Department of Defense MLA database to verify your status. If you are a covered borrower, they must automatically comply with the 36% MAPR cap and all the other MLA requirements. You don't have to ask, they have to check. Let me give you a real-world example that shows both laws working together. Imagine you are an E-5 who enlisted 3 years ago. Before you enlisted, you had a credit card with an 18% APR, a car loan at 8%, and a mortgage at 7.5%. The day you shipped out, all 3 of those became SCRA protected. Your lender must cap each at 6%, and they must forgive the excess interest from your entry date forward. Fast forward to today, you are on active duty, and you want to open a new credit card to earn travel rewards. That new credit card is MLA territory. The moment you apply, the lender checks the database, confirms your active duty status, and must comply with the 36% MAPR cap. In practice, major credit card issuers choose to waive the annual fee entirely on premium cards to keep the MAPR under 36%. So you get the card, and the annual fee is 0. That is the synergy of SCRA and MLA working simultaneously on your financial life. Now, who qualifies under each law? For SCRA, active duty members of all 6 branches, Title 10 Reserve and National Guard members, Title 32 National Guard members, serving more than 30 consecutive days, and commissioned officers of PHS and NOAA. Dependents receive indirect protection. For example, your spouse and children benefit from foreclosure protections on your mortgage and eviction protections on your rental. For MLA, the definition is broader. It includes all active duty service members, Guard and Reserve members on qualifying orders, and their covered dependents, spouses, children under 21, full-time students under 23, who depend on you for more than half their support, and children of any age who cannot support themselves due to a mental or physical condition. A military spouse who walks into a lender's office alone and applies for a personal loan qualifies for MLA protections in their own right. That is a power that SCRA doesn't give them. Let's talk about waivers, because this is where the 2 laws differ dramatically. Under SCRA, your rights can be waived, but only under extremely strict conditions. It must be a separate written document, signed during or after your military service, in 12-point type or larger, specifically identifying the rights being waived. Some states, including North Carolina and Florida, make SCRA rights completely non-waivable regardless. Bottom line, If a lender asks you to sign a SCRA waiver when you take out a loan, you have the right to refuse. Under MLA, the rule is absolute. MLA rights cannot be waived at all. Any waiver provision in a covered credit agreement is void. If a lender tries to make you sign away your MLA rights, that provision is automatically null and void. What happens when a lender violates these laws? For SCRA violations, you should contact your local JAG office for free legal assistance. File a complaint with the CFPB at 1-855-411-CFPB or report to the Department of Justice's Office of Civil Rights. Since 2011, Dojo has obtained over $481 million in monetary relief for more than 147,000 service members through SCRA enforcement. For MLA violations, the consequences are equally severe. If a creditor knowingly violates the MLA, the entire loan agreement may be voidable at your option. You may be able to recover actual damages, plus statutory damages, plus attorney's fees. The lender could face criminal penalties for knowing violations. Here is your action plan. First, make a list of every debt you have. For each one, ask, did I incur this before active duty or during active duty? If before, and you haven't already claimed SCRA, send a written request to each lender with a copy of your orders. Remember the 180-day deadline after separation. But don't wait. Send it now. Second, for any new credit you take out during active duty, check whether the lender verified your MLA status. If you are being charged fees that push your MAPR above 36%, contact the lender and reference the MLA. Third, if you are a spouse or dependent, know that you have independent MLA rights. When you apply for credit on your own, the lender must check your status in the due database. Fourth, never sign a SCRA waiver, ever. And fifth, keep copies of everything. Your orders, your correspondence, your certified mail receipts. One final point that I cannot stress enough. According to that January 2023 CFPB report, many active duty service members who were entitled to interest rate reductions under SCRA were not actually receiving them. The system is not perfect. The protections exist on paper, but they only work if you actively claim them. SCRA requires you to step forward. MLA requires the lender to check, but you need to know your rights so you can spot violations and report them. This is why education matters. This is why channels like ours exist. Important disclaimer: this video provides educational information based on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's official SCRA and MLA guidance, the December 2024 DOJ-FAFPB Joint Letter, and 32 CFR Part 232, the DoD regulation implementing the Military Lending Act. This is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Your specific situation may differ. Before making any decisions, consult your base JAG Legal Assistance Office for free or contact the CFPB directly at 1-855-411-CFPB. This channel is produced by a research team with AI-assisted voiceover and some AI-generated visuals. All rules and figures cite official U.S. government sources. SCRA provisions are codified at 50 U.S.C. Section 3937. MLA provisions are implemented through 32 CFR Part 232. This is video number 2 in our Military Financial Protection series. Next week, MLA credit card benefits, how to get 0 annual fees on premium cards like Amex Platinum, Chase Sapphire Reserve, and Capital One Venture X. We'll show you exactly which cards qualify, how the automatic MLA verification works, and why your spouse should open her own cards too. In the comments below, tell me, do you have any pre-service debts that you haven't claimed SCRA on yet? What is the interest rate? I'll calculate how much you could save, and in the description below, I've included a free SCRA versus MLA decision flowchart that helps you determine which law applies to each of your debts. Download it today. Subscribe to Military Money Decoded. Don't be undervalued. See you in the next one.